Russian aggression in Ukraine has led to a number of sports stars losing their ability to compete around the world recently, but UEFA and FIFA kicking Russia football teams out of their competition, to Wimbledon banning Russia and Belarusian athletes, and Nikita Mazepin has also lost his F1 drive, which he has been speaking about recently. Today we're discussing Mazepin laying the blame on Russian cancel culture, so don't go anywhere. First up, what's the current situation? Well, as we all know, Russian President Vladimir Putin ordered his troops into Ukraine back in February under the guise of flushing out Nazis. Of course, ironically, it is his actions which directly reflect that of the Third Reich and their invasion of Czechoslovakia in March 1939. However, following the illegal invasion, sanctions were handed down to influential Russians all over the world in the hopes they would put pressure on Putin to back down. But that isn't how Putin operates. As we all well know, the sanctions then began extending to Russian sports stars, which some critics have said is unfair as they clearly have nothing to do with the invasion, but supporters have backed them, saying they are designated to push Putin to back down by any means necessary. And if that means some athletes can't compete for a while, then so be it. Russian athletes across a ton of sports have been affected, but it is the solo sports which have been affected most. Russian tennis stars such as Daniil Medvedev have been banned from events such as Wimbledon, and the Russian driver Nikita Mazepin has also lost his drive with Haas. Of course, this was also designed to impact Mazepin's father, a close Putin ally who served as CEO of Uralchem, a prominent Russian fertilizer company. Uralchem included Haas in its portfolio, which is why these sanctions have been handed down. What do you guys make of the Russian invasion? Next up, what was Nikita had to say? Well, of course, he's not entirely delighted with proceedings, as you might imagine. Speaking last month, Mazepin Jr. bemoaned the current situation, claiming cancel culture was to blame. I think you'll find Vladimir Putin is to blame, however, Nikita. Mazepin was banned from driving thanks to his nationality, and was soon dropped from Haas given the fact that they needed a driver for the season, which has all stemmed from the sanctions handed down by the EU. However, it wouldn't have been a difficult decision for the Haas team to axe Mazepin, as he didn't pick up a single point last season, and he has now been replaced by Danish driver Kevin Magnussen. Mazepin told the BBC how he was last month, saying, "I don't agree with being in the sanctions. I've said before I agree to fight it. Perhaps now is the right time." Wow, finally a realistic assessment. However, he was soon back to talking nonsense, saying, "If you look at the whole situation that is happening against athletes in the general case, it's a cancel culture against my country." While his frustrations can certainly be understood, he should really be campaigning his own country to leave Ukraine, as at the moment, the world is more sympathetic with the plight of Ukrainian civilians being murdered rather than a hard done by millionaire sports star. What did you guys make of Mazepin's words? Let us know below. What else went down then? Stay tuned to find out. Well, the EU has described Mazepin and his father as people associated with a leading businessman involved in economic sectors, providing a substantial source of revenue to the government of the Russian Federation. And whilst we can probably assume that these sanctions are more geared toward Mazepin Sr., Nikita is probably being viewed as collateral damage by the EU and F1. Uralkali, who are associated with Mazepin's father, also functioned as a sponsor of Haas, but were quickly dropped soon after the invasion. But Uralkali are seemingly not going to take this lying down. Shortly after being dropped, they announced they were going to launch legal action as they already stumped a lot of cash for this season. The Haas team also removed everything associated with the Russian company and even moved to change up their livery. Initially, the team was set to ride in a car dominated by the colors of the Russian flag. But since all this went down, they've chosen a more neutral livery, which is now red, white, and black. Mazepin did concede that watching events unfold in Ukraine were very painful to watch on many levels. Of course, he is correct, and some things in life are much bigger than the plight of one man. What have you guys made of all this? Let us know below. And things just keep getting worse for Mazepin Jr. Stay tuned. The Russian invasion of Ukraine is affecting more and more people around the world, as supply chains have failed in some cases, and the rising cost of living can be attributed in part to Putin's illegal war. But it's not getting any easier for Russian civilians across the globe, and this week, Canada announced that they were imposing new embargoes on 14 Russian citizens, one of whom being Nikita Mazepin. Canada's Minister of Foreign Affairs announced this week that the sanctions have been handed down thanks to the individual's close ties with Russian President Vladimir Putin, saying these new measures impose restrictions on 14 individuals, including Russian oligarchs, their family members, and close associates of the Putin regime. These individuals have directly enabled Vladimir Putin's senseless war in Ukraine and bear responsibility for the pain and suffering of the people of Ukraine. In addition, today's announcement includes a ban on the export of targeted luxury goods to Russia, as well as a ban on the import of targeted luxury goods from Russia. I mean, fair enough, right? This comes as another body blow to Mazepin, who was spotted in a meeting with Putin at the end of February, the same day, incidentally, that the Russians launched their illegal invasion. Since the war began, the Mazepin villa in Italy has been seized, which will send a message to these oligarchs that the world will not stand idly by and watch whilst an illegal war is waged. We're discussing Haas's lack of upgrades now. Stick around. As you will know if you follow F1, around this time in the season, when the Spanish Grand Prix rolls around, teams like to introduce some updates to their rides. However, whilst every other team will be this weekend, Haas unfortunately will not. And Günther Steiner, Haas team principal, has told reporters that they will be waiting until the French GP in race week 12 to unleash their upgrades. He said, "We've made a plan as to why we're doing this, so we go along with our plan. We won't jump on what other people do and react to it." He then went on to ease fans' minds by saying, when they do introduce it, it will make a nice package. But some critics have claimed the reason they aren't upgrading this weekend is down to the Mazepin fiasco. Uralkali was the team's main sponsor, so of course they're missing a big chunk of their revenue now that Mazepin's family are not involved, which suggests their budget has taken a considerable hit. And when quizzed if this in fact was the case, Steiner replied, "No, our budget has stayed the same." Of course, Steiner has to appear strong, but it is difficult to believe that Haas terminating their relationship with Uralkali hasn't had some sort of detrimental effect on their budget. What do you guys think? Let us know below. And finally, how have Haas fared since Mazepin was given his marching orders? Well, not too badly if truth be told. Last season, the team were the only ones in the entire field to not score a single point over the whole season, which wasn't too impressive to be honest, but this season things have started to look up. So far, there have been 5 races since the season started again: Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Australia, Italy, and Miami. And the team's new driver, Magnussen, has acquitted himself pretty well, having finished just inside the points in the second race of this season in Saudi Arabia in 9th position. Magnussen followed that by finishing in the same position in Italy to score another 2 points a few weeks later. However, by far his most impressive race of the season was in the very first race, when he finished in a career-high position of 5th place, which was a superb drive by the Dane. Having initially been absent from Haas's test week in Barcelona just before the start of the season, Magnussen has proved to a lot of doubters wrong with his mature performances, and Haas couldn't really have wished for a better start to the season. If he can keep up his early season form and score some more points, as well as a few more podiums, then Haas can probably look back on a successful season at the end of the year. Let us know your thoughts on Magnussen below. Thanks for tuning in today, guys, and remember to stop by next time for some more fun and games. And if you feel like doing us a solid by liking and sharing today's video with any F1 fans, please feel free to do so. Bye, guys.